Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good Thursday evening. My name is Casey Halpern, and I'm thrilled to be joined by my very good friend and BetSided's very own Reed Wallach to preview the NBA Finals and talk a little offseason and maybe even take a few hits of the trade machine if time permits. Reed is an awesome follow on Twitter. For those who don't know, go shoot him a follow and start tailing his plays. He logs them all on BetStamp. He's a great handicapper. But I don't want to give him all his flowers now. His handle is below in the ticker, which I forgot to launch. Now you can see it. Reed, I appreciate you taking some time to come rap about game one in the finals. What's going on?
The incredibly flattering intro there. I think that's better than the other few times I've been on the stream. But no, pumped to be here. NBA Finals. I'm not sure if we're going to have that compelling of a series. I think that we might be at the runway might be out for the Heat. But I know you're a longtime Heat fan, so I'm pumped to hear your thoughts. Body language doctor, everything. Let's get into it. I'm pumped.
Before we get into it, the audience has a special question they wanted me to submit. Before we hit the hardwood, can we get a detailed breakdown of your morning round of 18 this morning?
Oof. We're going through some things right now. Just went to Scottsdale with the fellas for a golf trip, and everything went wrong there. So confidence is at a low. Going through some things. We've now developed a slice that we're going through to open the hips. I'm a lefty, so I got to open the hips up right. Couldn't crack 100 this time around, but we're building back up, and by the end of the summer we'll be back in the mid 90s where I was earlier this year.
Baby steps. May I recommend a personal consultation with not any doctor, but a Dr. Chaikin?
Please. I played with him the other week. He didn't give me any pointers.
Disgusting. But yes, as you said, I am a Heat fan. Granted, I'm not a diehard Heat fan like I'm a Jets and Yankees. I do root for the Heat, but I'm just a basketball fan in general. This is a pleasant surprise, but I have to be honest, like before the playoff season even started, like me and my dad were going back and forth, and I said, like, if there was ever an 8 seed to advance to the NBA Finals, it would be this exact Heat team, just because of how wide open the East felt. Like, I thought Boston would ultimately win it all, but like, the last 2 months of the season, you couldn't feel good about them considering like how many games they blew down the stretch. And Milwaukee, once Giannis was out, it was like, okay, like this is a completely different series. The Heat took game one. And then I actually bet on them to win game two, like before the line even moved when he was announced out. They got slaughtered. And then I was like, all right, maybe like the Bucks are alive here again, but he pulled it out. And then I thought the Knicks had no chance against the Heat. And then the Celtics, it was like, wow, all right. We could talk about that one for a bit. Second row Joe was in a coma for half the series.
I know. I'm with you though. Once I started watching the Boston Philly series, and Miami deserves a ton of credit, but you see the competition that they were going to go up against. You just see it opening up for Miami once they got past Milwaukee. The whole thing opened up. Philly, Boston go to 7 games in a series that should have ended in 5 anyway for Boston. They play with their food. You go to 7 games, they ran out of gas. And I didn't foresee Miami. I thought before the series, I was like, I think actually Miami's going to win. Bet them before the series. Did not see them going up 3-0, them blowing 3 in a row, and then winning in game 7 on the road. That being said, now that they're here, you could throw out the regular season when I didn't really see much of them. I didn't think that they were going to make much of a run. They should have lost in the play-in game to the Chicago Bulls. Now that they're here, though, it doesn't look that surprising when you see the competition that they got by and the results. I know they shot like crazy, but I think that this is no crazy fluke. They maximize their edges to the best of their advantage. You got enough timely Jimmy Butler plays. Caleb Martin caught fire. Duncan Robinson found his shot. So now that they're here, it's not that crazy when you look at the run that they went on. So now they face a Denver team, though, that, in my opinion, is the best team they're going to face and is going to, make considerably quick work of them, in my opinion.
I think I agree. Obviously, we have a large soft spot for the best player in the world, Nikola Jokic. Mm-hmm. He has a ring. He has a Hayden Dormitory ring. He's been a part of Reed and I's fantasy team that won back-to-back titles the last 2 years, not this year. We had a bit of a hiccup. But I love Nikola. We've been on Nikola since basically his breakout year in like 2018. And then slowly the world started to realize it. And then even last round, people were like, who the hell is this guy? Well, you've had a pulse and you've watched NBA basketball for the past 2 years. You've known this guy is the real deal, and he's been the best player in the NBA for basically 2 years, for 3 years now. But before we dive into game one sides, totals, and props and stuff like that we like, I think I want to talk about this series as a whole. I think you're right in the assessment that the Nuggets should make quick work of the Heat, especially like Denver moves the ball and they have a game plan on offense and their coach isn't in a coma half the time.
Yeah.
No offense to second row Joe, but let's call a spade here. They have a plan on offense. They're not just going to let a zone defense basically screw up their whole game plan, and they're going to hit shots, right? They're a good 3-point shooting team. And if the Heat are going to play zone against the Nuggets, I think they're going to be in a bit of trouble, as Jokic is obviously one of the best, is probably the best passer in the world and best passer we've probably ever seen.
Yeah.
Big man. I mean, the guy's a maestro, and if he's getting the ball in the middle of the Miami zone, like, he's just going to like dice it up.
Yeah, I don't see Miami. Maybe it's like token zone, like out of timeout, like something like to throw it off. But typically, like this is a professional basketball. When you run a zone more than 3-4 possessions in a row, the offense is going to figure it out, and that's what made it so crazy about the Celtics. And also, like, if you had to scope out a Miami series win, right? Like if you had to make the path, that probably means that they're going to keep up their hot towards shooting, right? Well, if you look at like Denver effective field goal percentage, which weights 3-point percentage 1.5 times, 2-point field goal percentage, so it's a little bit more of a clear number weighted to your 3-point shooting. Denver in the playoffs has a better effective field goal percentage than Miami. So even with Miami shooting so well from the perimeter and getting all these shots to fall, they're still worse than the Nuggets on offense. So I'm struggling to see. I think they're probably going to have to pressure the ball a lot more, try and generate turnovers. They're
going to have to pick them up 94 feet. Kyle Lowry's might have a stroke in Denver. With
exactly. I 100%. And, Tyler Herro, we get into that, he's going to be back. I don't know if he's necessarily going to make the impact on this series that you need. I think the Heat's way to win, they did it zone against Boston to this one. I think it's got to be generating turnovers, really getting out, crashing the glass, which kind of became a problem against Boston, losing the rebounding battle. I believe it was 3 of the last 4 games they lost. So Miami's rebounding is going to come into question here. They got to maximize their opportunities at beating the Nuggets. They got to outshoot them, 15, 20 times down the floor because Denver's offense is just too potent for them. So again, trying to craft a Miami path to victory, it's a little dicey. And I mean, the odds reflect that they're plus 300.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think the path to victory has kind of been like what their path has been all 3 rounds now. Like they're going to outgrind these teams, right? Have the coaching advantage, which, look, Malone, I think, is a good coach. But
they have a coaching advantage, just not as big as the other.
Right. It's not as big as the past few rounds. I mean, Spo is the best coach in the NBA, and he has been for quite a while. And it's good that he gets his notice now. And they got to knock down their shots. But I doubt they're going to shoot 58% from open 3 again.
Yeah.
That's kind of impossible to keep up. And it does feel like regression is going to rear its ugly head. And I think they're kind of going to sleepwalk tonight just because they're going to be a little tired about game 1, but we'll get into that in a second. But also another thing that's like a massive concern of mine is like if Bam gets in foul trouble, which he might, they have absolutely no one to go to after him. You're not playing Cody Zeller, big minutes against Jokic. You're just going to get absolutely torched. You have no backup plan if Bam gets in foul trouble early. And quite frankly, Jokic is a magician on offense, and he might pull a few tricks and kind of cause that to happen. So that's a very real concern, and I don't think there is a definitive plan on, okay, what do we do next? Who the hell is coming off this bench? They're going to have to go small. They're going to get torn apart on the glass. So
yeah,
it's going to be interesting.
No, I think Cody Zeller, the time has come for him to see the bench for the rest of the postseason. It'll probably be Kevin Love. That's just going to be the backup center, and that's probably not going to work. I mean, Bam, who I don't think he's played that well, was it game 6 and 7? I really didn't see much out of him. So even Jokic's numbers against Bam, I want to pull up the tweet while you were talking there, but I mean, his numbers over the past 2 seasons, I think it's 60% field goal percentage, averaging a triple-double per 48 minutes. So Jokic owns Bam in this matchup. I mean, this Heat run was really nice and they deserve to be here, but like this was like the worst draw they could get. Like if they got the Lakers team, it'd be a little bit different. But to me, again, a lot of these, like we could go back and forth, and it just seems like we land on it's probably just Denver.
Yeah, I mean,
I wish it was more compelling. I really do.
I wish it were too, but there's also like that part of me that like can't count out the Heat just because.
Very fair.
I feel like I know it's used ad nauseum and it shouldn't be, but like they actually have that dog in them. Like they are a team that is excuse my language. They are a team that is they're as mentally strong as they come. Like right, like they feed off Spo, they feed off UD. Like I don't care that he's just sitting on the corner of the bench. That guy inspires the team. Like there's a reason he's still on the roster, right? They pick up what they put down. So like it's hard to say like definitively I think the Nuggets win like in a quick series. So I'm going to say Nuggets win in 6, but I think it's a lot closer than it should be, if that makes sense. Like I think the games are going to come down to the wire. But that being said, let me pull up my screen here, and we're going to look at our profit exchange markets for tonight for game 1. Hold on, it's got to let me share my screen. And we're going to go through what we both like for tonight. I kind of gave away what I like already, but I will let you go first. It looks like right now we have the Heat at plus 320, Nuggets at minus 340, Heat plus 8.5 at even odds, Denver minus 8.5 and minus 108. And you could get over under 218.5 and 219.5. Plenty of liquidity available. It looks like someone just came in and scooped up all the Heat. So that's interesting, but someone.
Yeah. So I am of the belief Denver, especially tonight. Tonight is just like, it can't get tougher for Miami. All factors going against them. I mean, I know teams off of game 7, the following series are winning. I believe it's like a 35% rate. That's just straight up. Obviously, that's baked in. Denver's laying 8.5. But I just think when you look at the difference of these two teams, I mean, are you going to say Boston probably power rated slightly ahead of Denver? So Boston early in the series, about an 8-9 point favorite. So the market makes sense to me. It's just the spot. Miami, rather quick turnaround, going across the country to altitude to Denver. This is the best home team winning percentage in the entire NBA. So I think Denver here rolls. I think Miami lets go of the road pretty early. And I think that they take this game as, listen, we're going to lose this one anyway. Let's try and find some adjustments, some tinkering things. We could go try and get game 2 on Sunday. I think you see Denver kind of shot out of a cannon here, and then Miami has to respond.
I completely agree with you.
It's a brutal spot. It just doesn't.
Exactly. It's an incredibly tough turnaround, right? Right off of game 7, like an emotional win in Boston where they come out and after a devastating game 6 loss, like backs against the wall, no one expects them to win. I mean, the odds they were plus 8 dogs going into Boston game 7. They obviously blow Boston out. Now they have to turn around 48 hours later, go play the number 1 home court advantage in the NBA all season long. And I'm with you here. I like the Nuggets minus 8.5. I'm going to be taking that. I suggest everyone else listens to Reed. Don't listen to me. I'm a schmuck. Listen to Reed. Ride the Nuggets minus 8.5 and get them at minus 109 on Profit Exchange. Don't pay a minus 115, minus 120 on your regular sports books. I mean, Denver at home has just kind of been an absolute wagon. Like, I'm pretty sure they haven't lost since like late March, and like I think I read they were 11-0 since late March, and they've been winning by an average of 10. I mean, and even before then, like they kind of let their foot off the gas in the last month of the season. So I'm sure that streak probably could have stretched like the All-Star break, but I don't know. It's a tough spot for Miami here. Denver at home. It's tough to bet against them. So
yeah, I mean,
Denver.
They were 1 game behind the Grizzlies for the best record in the regular season, but they're 8-0 at home in the postseason. So, I mean, tough to really go against Denver at home. I mean, also, I just think you look at where Miami, and I think people are going to look at the past few series with the Heat and say, well, they beat the Bucks, they beat the Celtics. I also think, and the Knicks, of course, this is kind of a different animal playing Denver. Also, again, a lot of things were going right for the Heat before that series before the series started against Boston, Boston had to go 7 with the Sixers. Obviously, the decisive coaching advantage with second row Joe Mazzulla. This is a totally different animal where Miami had to empty the gasket, had to get an all-time Caleb Martin performance. Shout out Nevada. Had to get an all-time performance from him just to get past Boston and Tatum injuring his ankle. Now you're traveling. You're getting Denver, who it's a little narrative-y, but it just feels like Boston was an unserious basketball team for the second half of the season and in the postseason. Denver, they've taken care of their business when they've had to. Their 3 losses this postseason came where Devin Booker had to shoot like 70% and score 50 points basically to beat them. And then an overtime loss on the road against the Timberwolves in a game they're nearly won in regulation anyway. So this Denver team has a little bit more seriousness to them that makes me think they're going to come out kind of guns blazing. You're not going to see them play with their food, similar to how Boston did in the Eastern Conference Finals. So I think people are going to look at the past few rounds as a signal for the Heat, and I just don't see it that way.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Denver tonight. I also think like another underrated aspect is I also like Denver's bench more.
Definitely.
Than Boston for sure. Like I know you love Bruce Brown. I absolutely love that guy. He does just everything on the floor. Been a long time Jeff Green stan, so hopefully Uncle Jeff comes to play. But
yeah, Denver shortened the bench against the Lakers, but even against the Suns, like Christian Brown. He was getting reps on Kevin Durant holding his own. So, I mean, that's someone who else, you could see him thrown into the fray. I mean, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope has been playing lights out this postseason. You want to talk about history, the Heat, and, being in the finals. KCP was the one guarding Jimmy Butler when the Lakers won the bubble against the Heat. So, I mean, he has avid experience against them. And again, the last 2 seasons, Denver swept, all 4 games. So, to me, I wish I had like some underdog, something juicy to give out. Shout out Stetson Bennett, first touchdown in the national championship. But I just think that Denver is that much better. And I think that they make it look relatively routine. I think if you are interested in the Heat and you're trying to bet series prices, you believe in the upset, I think wait until after tonight because I think that this is kind of a wash for them. They're going to go down. Market's going to move. Also, if you really believe in the Heat, how are they going to win? Like, they're not winning in 4 or 5. They're probably going to win in 6 or 7. Maybe if you want to bet now, Heat in 7. I don't even know what that number is, but, Heat plus 1.5 games is around plus 150. That could be an angle for you. But to me, I think Denver kind of has the Heat covered everywhere. Jimmy Butler isn't going to be the best player in this series. Bam has a bad matchup here. The bench, you're not really going to see that because Denver can match the offense. So looking for angles for the Heat, I don't see it there.
I don't see it either. I mean, the Heat have not won in Denver since I think it was like 2016. I saw the starting 5 that the Heat trotted out then. It was Dragic, Rodney McGruder, Luke Babbitt. Completely forgot was on the Heat. I think it was.
I didn't even know he was on the Heat.
Yeah, he had a cup of coffee with them. A lot of people did in those like few years after LeBron. Josh McRoberts and I think Whiteside. So I mean, talk about a throwback of a rotation.
Yeah.
You're trotting out Luke Babbitt, Rodney McGruder, McRoberts, and Hassan Whiteside.
The Heat went through a random run of overpaying the wrong guys. McRoberts got a contract from them. Whiteside obviously got a huge contract from them. I mean, the Heat. Look, obviously, incredible run they've been on the past, like almost 2 decades now, but there's been some blips there where they've made some crazy decisions.
Look, I mean, like when you lose a talent like LeBron and obviously like Wade and then obviously Bosh to devastating injury like that, it's hard to recover. And I think they just kind of like tried to throw money at the problems instead of looking within them and expanding on the culture. They've obviously made a blueprint for their franchise and now are seeing the fruits of labor of that. But we've come a long way since that Heat team that last one in Denver. Who do you think
finals in 4 years? I mean, this is nothing to laugh at.
No. Who do you think is the role player that makes the biggest impact in the series?
I think it's going to be a big Aaron Gordon series. Does he count as a role player? I feel like if it's not Murray or Jokic, I think that this matchup tonight, I played 2 props tonight. I played Denver, and then I played 2 props. I played Aaron Gordon over 20.5 points, rebounds, and assists. That might be 21.5 now. Obviously, like it one less, but I think he got kind of marginalized because they sagged off him. I don't think you're going to see that from Miami, though. I think that they're going to have to cover everyone. Also, Aaron Gordon hit, I believe it was 3 threes in game 4 to close out the Lakers. So I don't think it's going to work. I think you're going to see Bam checking Jokic, trying to get the ball out of his hands early. That's going to set up Aaron Gordon in the dunker spot. He has a size advantage also because the Heat play relatively small. Like Caleb Martin's kind of been their pseudo 4. So Gordon's got the size. He kind of touches everything. Rebounds, assists, he's involved. This is his season average or his postseason average. So I think you can see a little bit of an uptick in efficiency. So I played over points, rebounds, and assists. I think Gordon ends up with a big imprint as they try to slow Jokic down.
Yeah, I mean, especially, he's going to have a lot of easy looks. Jokic will find them. My most impactful role player isn't on either team. It's the Jokic brothers.
Him versus what game do the Jokic brothers challenge Udonis Haslem to a handicap match?
This is why we are so close, because that was actually my next question. When do you think Jokic brothers and UD get in a cage and just go at it?
Probably game 3. I think here's how the series is going to go.
A double tech? Maybe Scott Foster comes in, throws him a double T? I don't know.
I think Nuggets take game 1 big. Nuggets squeak out game 2 a close one, and game 3 is like the all hands on deck Miami game, and emotions are going to be high, either win or lose, and that's when you see the Jokic brothers and UD get into it after the game, win or lose.
Jokic brothers, fresh off a dinner buffet at 11, stroll into Kaseya Center, just a little wobbly, barking at UD, just a little chatter back and forth. You never know. Look. Maybe put on a jersey. Come on the bench for a bit. All right, so give me your finals prediction.
Nuggets in 5. I think Denver wins both at home. They find a way. They get one of the road games, and then they close it out at home. I just think too many answers.
I weirdly think it's going to be 1-1 going back to Miami.
So you would say Miami gets game 2?
I think Miami's going to win game 2. I don't know why. That's what I feel. I think they're going to steal one on the road. I could be completely off. I probably am. I'm a putz, but I think it's going to be 1-1 going back to Miami. I think Denver is going to steal game 3, Miami game 4, and then Denver is going to just win the last 2.
Yeah, I mean, just like big picture talking the series, again, if like Denver's going to score, Miami found ways to shut down Boston, but Denver has just like a relentless offense that is going to find answers. So if you like Miami, this is like more of a game-to-game thing. Betting overs, because like, again, if Denver's going to get to like 105 to 110 points and Miami's going to beat them, the games are probably going over. So if you think Miami's going to win these games, maybe you want to play a little safer. Betting over in games you think Miami's going to win, I think that's worth a look, because Denver's offense is just relentless. They will find ways to score and put up, the necessary points to get over the total. It's more if Miami's shooting is going to be there or not.
Yeah, Denver's going to put up 115, 118 a game.
Yeah.
You could expect that. That's a good call out. We will, at some point this summer, we're going to do a robust stream when everything settles down, and we're going to get disgusting after all the trades and all that happens. We'll do it just in the dog days of summer. We'll come on for an hour. We'll throw up the trade machine.
So this is post-free agency trade machine.
Yeah, we're gonna do it, or we can do a pre. We'll have to see what the calendars look like. We'll figure it out. Our people will be in touch. We'll get Dr. Bill on. Maybe we'll get a little Joe House. Who knows? But I did write down 3 fake trades for you.
Okay.
All right.
This is good content. Let's hear it. They work though? You trade machine.
I'm almost positive they work.
Okay.
It's hard because the Jaylen Brown extension is not in effect yet.
Okay.
It will be, but I did the math and they should.
Okay, let's hear them.
Bradley Beal and our good friend Denny Avdija for Jaylen Brown straight up.
I mean, why is Boston doing that?
I mean, Tatum and Beal.
So are you team Jaylen Brown gets traded? I think that they have. You don't have to trade Jaylen Brown.
I'm not paying. Look, I'm not team pay a guy who can't dribble the basketball $50 million a year. I think Jaylen Brown is awesome. I think if they build the right team around them, like, yeah, but I don't think it's possible with the new CBA and the amount they're going to have to pay Jaylen Brown, where I think the window is now shut on that opportunity. They had it. It unfortunately went sideways this year, and I think they probably would have won it all. Ime was still.
I agree. They were the best. They were the best team, just team on paper, 100%.
Yeah, look, Brogdon got hurt. Like, that stinks. Al had to play one too many minutes in the playoffs. Yep. Like, he got old, and look, they just didn't have depth behind them. I think Jaylen Brown is an awesome player. Just you can't, I don't think, justify paying him $295 million or something over 5 years. So it's like they can't lose the asset for nothing. That's the thing. Yes. So like, they have to do some sort of sign and trade, right? Like they have to extend them and then trade them, which is why I think Beal is an option just because of Tatum and him's relationship, and he's going to probably want to bring in one of his guys.
I don't know if Beal. I feel like Beal is too big. Are the two other trades also Jaylen Brown related, or is this like the one Jaylen Brown one?
The two other trades are actually two other trades are Jaylen Brown related, and then there's one at the last.
I think Bradley Beal, he's kind of too far of a step back. Like, to me, Boston, and it sounds tough, but like with the new CBA, like you said, you can't pay two of these guys over $50 million. To me, you almost need to get a worse asset on a more controllable contract, like,
and then reset it with a pick,
and then get a reset with a pick, whether it's like Houston at 4, Portland at 3, and you get like Shaedon Sharpe or something, and then you build the team around Tatum as the high priced player, and then a bunch of projects and guys that can outlive their contract beneath him. I think that's going to be a new model, because I think Tatum is obviously worth the money. Jaylen Brown, I'm not sure is worth that. The two of them together, listen, you ran out of time. Yeah, that's the truth. You ran out of time. So I don't know, because Bradley Beal is going to similarly handicap the Celtics, like signing. At that point, I just signed Jaylen Brown then.
I agree, but they probably realize they have to keep Tatum happy, and I feel like that clock could even be ticking. I don't know that for sure, but just you never know with these guys. Like, they change. I mean,
listen, I'm well aware. I'm a Nets fan.
We'll get to that at the end. All right, we'll do one more Jaylen Brown trade.
Okay.
Jalen Green, Jae'Sean Tate, Usman Garuba, and the number 4 pick for Jaylen Brown.
See, like, I would, if I'm comparing the two packages, it probably sounds like people will be like, "Oh, you got to take the Bradley Beal package." I actually think the Celtics would be better off if they took the number 4 pick package.
I agree. Look, I don't know about Jalen Green if he's on a
get Sengun in there too. If you can get Sengun in there, he's good.
I absolutely love him.
I mean, if the Rockets are just like intent on doing like the James Harden, Jaylen Brown thing, pull as much, like get as like screw Garuba, get Sengun, Jalen Green, number 4. That's a huge haul.
By the way, if I was making a trade, if I was making the trade with the Rockets, I would ask for Sengun before Jalen Green.
I agree, and even if Jalen Green's not that good, like he's gonna be what, like 3 times cheaper, more. He's gonna be so much cheaper. Why not? He's another guard that could get it, and then you have another top 5 pick. I like that package. To me, that's a realistic offer that the Celtics probably don't want to tell themselves they need to take, but they probably should take.
Yeah, and I feel like that's gonna be a tough one to sell to the fan base.
Exactly. That's the issue. But like 5 years from now, if they do it, like we look back and be like, "Oh wow, they really ended up okay with that one."
I mean, we love Sengun. He was a member of Hayden Dormitory this year. Yes. We hope he is a member of our team next year.
On the Celtics.
But we will do a larger off-season stream this summer. I promise the people. They're yearning for it. We'll get Dr. Bill on. We'll have Kyle on. He'll turn the TikTok camera on. Maybe Joe House, 10 beers deep. But before I let you go, as the single only person in the world who is a diehard Nets fan, yes, go ahead and give us a state of the Nets, please.
Oof. I don't know. I mean, they're in a good position where, good enough position where they could either pivot and do the we're going to go star hunting thing, which that's where I think they want to go and trade for someone like Damian Lillard to pair with Mikal Bridges. I'd also be perfectly okay if they go the other way and they trade Mikal Bridges to partner with Dame Lillard in Portland, get back a package of like Anthony Simons and pick number 3 and jumpstart a rebuild that way. I think they'd be pretty well positioned just with their pick allocation stuff. And you could even then turn around, flip Nick Claxton for more assets and just keep accumulating. A full teardown to me isn't out of the question, and I think they should consider it. I do think ultimately they're going to try and get Dame Lillard, and they'll be decent and not good enough, and they'll need to get another guy to really make a contention move. But as long as they don't run back the same team that closed out the year, I'm pretty cool with it. I thought the team at the end of the year wasn't very good. The coach isn't that great either. So going into the offseason, I just want movement in one direction. You know what I mean? Standing still isn't going to do it for me. Then I'd be frustrated. If they decide to make a move and show direction, then I'm cool. So that's where I stand. I think that they have options to do that. I don't think that's unreasonable to ask for a direction.
That's fair. You know my affinity for Mikal Bridges. I love him.
He
has a ring with us.
He's not a one. It's okay. No, there's like 5 of those guys.
This is true. I mean, Dame would be pretty sick, but I don't know if that's the right. I don't know if right now is the best time to do that with the state of their franchise. But I think Joe Tsai is probably a little pissed off and wants to go big game hunting again. One more question. I'm sorry. I know I told you at 30 minutes. What's going to happen with Ben Simmons?
Oh God.
Washing machine, stainless steel.
No. Keep him. He's a net.
He's a net. What are you going to do with him?
He'll sit.
Tic-tac-toe in the locker room?
He'll sit. He'll play sometimes.
Okay. Twiddle thumbs, clap hands.
Yeah,
guys.
Listen, at this point, he's got 2 years left. Like, might as well just let the contract run out. That's what the crazy thing about the Nets is. They're in this weird position where Bridges makes less money than Ben Simmons. So he's on a really good contract going forward.
He's on a great contract.
Simmons' contract is our highest paid contract. And if you could, maybe not this coming summer, but the following summer, find a way off of his for cheap, like an expiring deal, all of a sudden the Nets have a ton of cap space. Ultimately, though, I mean, he's so far away from a competent NBA player. Like, him retiring is not out of the question, in my opinion. He could absolutely be out of the league. He has shown nothing that resembles an NBA player. I'll give him credit. I mean, it looks like he lives a pretty great life. I mean,
yeah. If I was
hot girlfriend left and right, 6 cars as a dope house in LA, like, I mean, seems pretty cool. Sits there in his, like, I guess cool outfits. Like, I don't know.
Tries to troll the Sixers, but
yeah. I mean, like, I guess he's cool. Like, I don't know. I don't think he's so cool, but
it just doesn't give a shit about basketball.
The older I get, I've realized that my judge of coolness is just completely eroded. I've lost it with like how to judge how people are cool or not. Like Ben Simmons to me is a complete loser. I don't get it at all.
Yeah, I mean, he's got great outfits on the side.
Yeah, I not even my style.
Yeah. Okay, and that was 2 minutes on feeble Ben Simmons. Reed, I appreciate you. And thank you for doing this. Wait, also, sorry, going back for a second. How could can you even trade Ben Simmons? Like, who's taking that salary on? Like, you have to attach a pick.
You'd have to attach a pick or two. Like, it'd be a disaster. That's why I'd rather wait until he's an expiring contract. It'll be like Russell Westbrook this year, where you trade him for like a hodgepodge of things and you add a pick and then he's off. You trade him now, I mean, you got to attach way too much. It's not even worth it. It's not like the Nets are doing anything with the salary cap right now anyway.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's just kind of a loss asset at this point. But
exactly.
It's a sunk cost. Reed, thank you so much for doing this. Love you. Had a blast getting in the chat. What do you have to plug? Where can people find you? Tell the world.
Yeah, Twitter handles right there, @Reed Wallach. Got some college football news coming soon, talking next season stuff. Obviously, college football is my go-to. The early read. It will be back. Announcements on that coming soon. But yeah, Casey, love you too. Thanks for having me on. And go Nuggets.
All right. Nuggets in 6. Get the best odds on Profit Exchange. You won't find better anywhere else. All new users can now get a no sweat first bet up to $100. I mean, that's a win-win. Obviously, you're getting the best odds, and then you're getting your first bet back if it even loses up to $100. So do with that what I said. Reed, we'll chat soon. Goodbye, everyone.
Later.